While thousands of people suffer catastrophic damage from hurricanes Harvey and Irma, the mainstream media is busy pretending to be scientists, suggesting without proof that climate change is to blame for the back-to-back storms.
When you see 3 Category 4 hurricanes all on the same map at the same time, does the thought occur to you, geez, maybe there is something to this climate change thing?
The evidence shows that the effects of climate change, including warmer waters and sea level rise, are making these kinds of extreme weather events worse.
Why this is the worst storm we've ever seen, etc., has to do with climate change. And people who deny that, they should start naming all of these next hurricanes after Hurricane Limbaugh, Hurricane Pruitt, Hurricane Palin, Hurricane Trump.
Anyone who believes that there is no such thing as global warming must be blind or unintelligent. Lord, please save us all.
Joining me now is Chief Meteorologist at WeatherBell Analytics, Joe Bastardi. So, Joe, let's address what Joy Behar said. She said this is the worst storm that we've ever seen. Is that even true?
1935, the Florida Keys. I guess she doesn't know about that. Camille back in 1969. I want you to ask Joy if the 1821 hurricane, which was a Category 3 all the way to New York, came up the eastern seaboard, what would happen if that happened again today? There are estimates that that track with that intensity would cause $1 trillion damage today because of the way our coast is exposed to all this. So you could go over season after season, storm after storm. And here's what happens. These people are climatic ambulance chasers. They don't say boo until something happens, and then they get up and scream, it's climate change. Well, where were all these people before the season when my company, weatherbell.com, came out and said that the major hurricane hit drought would end this year? It would be a high impact season because of development in close to the United States coast. We were very, very concerned about this. We even had a giant red area where we thought all the action was going to be. And lo and behold, the storms come in there. So what I want to know is, if these people don't say anything until after, why is it that someone that said something before the season has no credibility? That's very interesting how that works.
Yeah, well, you'd have to go on The View and ask Joy that, and I don't think you're going to be doing that, Joe. When people say that the warmer temperatures or the warmer oceans aren't causing the hurricanes, but they're exacerbating their intensity, how would you respond to someone like that, say, at a bar?
Well, I'm trying to figure out why we've had so many more intense hurricanes than Harvey and Irma. I mean, go and look as far as barometric pressure goes. These storms were not in the top 10, let's say. I think Harvey was
Irma and Harvey not in the top 10 hurricanes in the
as far as landfalling intense. The metric that we have is the landfalling intensity. See, we didn't have recons back in the 1800s. All right, in the hurricane season of 1886, where 7 hurricanes hit the United States, 3 or 4 of them major. So you don't know how strong they were out over the middle of the water. We know how strong they were when they hit land.
Yeah, what year was in the 1800s? Did they have cars that were putting a lot of carbon into the atmosphere back then? I don't think so.
No, let me get my point across. The constant metric is landfall intensity. And these storms, when they made landfall, for instance, Carla was a much bigger storm than Harvey. Harvey just got stuck underneath a cold trough of low pressure. But Carla had hurricane force winds the entire Texas Gulf Coast. Go look at the 1935 hurricane, or Hurricane Donna, which did not weaken coming to the Florida coast as Irma did. And Hurricane Donna with what it caused up the eastern seaboard. There are countless examples of storms that are more powerful than this that have hit the United States. We see them out in the water, Jesse, but we didn't see them before.
That's true. All right, so we've dealt with that. Now, I want to read something from a New York Times opinion piece. This is from David Leonard. This is what he says. Smoking, drunken driving, and seatbeltless riding each created a public health crisis. Climate change on its way to becoming a far worse public health crisis than any of those other problems. Already it has aggravated droughts, famines, and deadly heat waves. In the United States, global warming seems to be contributing to the spread of Lyme disease. So worse than smoking and drunken driving. Now global warming takes the cake. How would you respond to that, Joe?
Well, if you actually look at the statistics, this is not the case. In fact, there's an argument because of the way the globe is warming. There's more warming occurring in cold, dry areas during their winter seasons. that we can decrease the amount of activity. In fact, in our weatherbell.com preseason hurricane forecast, I explained why warming may actually be distorting the pressure patterns in the northern hemisphere to decrease the amount of tropical storm activity that hits the United States coast, or the major activity. This year, though, when I saw the preseason, I saw the way the pressure patterns were going to set up, I said, look out, we're going to get hit. It's no secret as to what goes on when the month of August turns cold while you're in the warm cycle of the Atlantic Ocean, which is what we are.
Right.
We've been in the warm AMO before. We were in the 40s and 50s, and people don't know what happens. So these people prey on these people because the average person doesn't know what happened back then. But if you study it, you'll see there's nothing new under the sun.
That's right. I love how you talk about the preseason like this is like football season's around the corner. Joe?
Well, there's a lot of preparation that goes into our forecast. We just don't put something out. In the private sector, you have to be right or you get fired.
That's right. Absolutely. Hopefully I don't get fired either. All right, up next, the president has a new groundskeeper, and he's 11 years old.